And the ones who do claim that exemption do have to wear a stricter mask.
Oh, good.
Or an N95 mask, not just a make it yourself
Awesome.
kind of
Right.
mask.
Okay.
Or a combination of mask and testing has also been approved. So it's not like they get a free pass. It's there are consequences to every decision.
Okay. Thank you.
Mhm.
Sorry, you guys, the skinny wimpy movers just got to the house and I was a little frazzled. At least you didn't hear me swearing at them. I didn't. They're wonderful. They're wonderful. Anyway, Debbie, I've thought about you so much during the past weeks, and as I've heard so many of our national leaders talk about the importance of our children, I just so appreciate the leadership on your
Yes.
and the board's behalf. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Well, it has
I
been
agree.
that's very sweet. And it's been, really amazing to me how anytime I interact with just about anybody in the public, like this Rotary Zoom, or so that's been helpful, since every board meeting is a challenge.
Most definitely.
But, we really have a great district, and we'll get through this, and our country will get through this. And we'll come out on the other side with progress in our humanity, I'm sure.
Mhm.
Sounds like my inspiration today, Debbie.
Well, good morning or good afternoon now and welcome. After I get logged into the right Zoom account, I think that we're getting ready to start the meeting. So I'm going to mute everyone. Okay, that worked. And call the meeting to order. Welcome to our Road Gateway Rotary meeting for October 21st. And Pat, would you like to start us off with a pledge, please?
Pat, you're still muted.
Please join me, sorry. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you very much. Usually it's somebody that has to tell me to take me off mute, so I know that feeling well. Valerie, inspiration.
Yes, I kind of feed a little bit on what Debbie and Kelly were talking earlier, and that is what I think right now is truly hitting our nation is fear. And so I found this inspiration just kind of mentions polio as well in an interesting way. Fear is the polio of the soul. Faith is the life based on unseen realities. It is the word become flesh. So that's one. The second one, I believe that every single event in life happens is an opportunity to choose love over fear, and that's Oprah Winfrey. And the last one, which is anonymous, just says someday everything will make perfect sense. So for now, laugh at the confusion, smile through the tears, and keep reminding yourself that everything happens for a reason.
Thank you. Very appropriate for these times that we're in. Totally, thank you. Let's see, any visiting Rotarians or guests?
I have somebody I see that I have invited, Michelle Keep, and I'm so happy to see her here.
Okay, well, welcome, Michelle. Anybody else? That's a guest.
Yeah, Steve, I will introduce my guest here in a moment.
Well, you know what? You go right ahead because it's a great time to do that, Win. So please go ahead with your healthcare minute.
Okay, so good afternoon, everybody. It's nice to virtually see all of you. Your smiling faces is awesome. I'd like to introduce Dr. Eli Sager. Dr. Sager is actually my primary care physician. So if you can't trust your primary care physician, who can you trust? And so he is a wonderful person, and we're lucky to have him here in the community. And I just asked him to share a couple things with us this morning. So I'm going to turn it right over to you, Dr. Sager.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Win. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
Awesome. And thank you for those kind words. And thanks for having me here. It probably timed out perfectly because there's been some really interesting recent announcements in regards to COVID and vaccines, really just yesterday and today. So I guess I'll spend my few minutes kind of glossing over that. And as we know, as soon as we finish this meeting, I'm sure something will change and this will be irrelevant, but because that's how quickly the information is changing. But as of now, Moderna and Johnson & Johnson have both been approved for booster doses, okay? Previously, Pfizer had been the only third dose booster that had been approved, and we were kind of waiting on Moderna and Johnson & Johnson to follow suit. And as of yesterday, that happened. Another interesting piece of that, though, is that there's been some studies here over the last few months looking at whether or not you can mix and match doses. And basically all those studies have shown that yes, you in fact can. If you got first 2 doses of COVID vaccine that were Pfizer, you could technically boost with Moderna. And then same with Johnson & Johnson actually too. So if you received a Johnson & Johnson vaccine, you can boost with either Pfizer or Moderna, which is an interesting kind of wrinkle to all this, but will hopefully increase access, especially across the US, as different states are getting different proportions of the various vaccines. So with the 2 mRNA-based vaccines, the Pfizer and Moderna, those boosters would occur after 6 months since your second dose. With Johnson & Johnson, they're recommending boosting that after 2 months, okay? And you can do a Johnson & Johnson booster, but you could also choose to do a Pfizer or Moderna. The small study where they were looking at this with the NIH, the National Institute of Health, found that actually there's a really robust immune response with the Johnson & Johnson being boosted by the Moderna. So something to kind of consider. Now, most of my patients, when they come in, will ask whether or not they're candidates for a booster dose. And right now, we're still only boosting folks who are 65 and over, or 18 to 64 if they either live in kind of a environment that would put them at risk, or if they work in a patient-facing environment that would put them at risk, or kind of a grocery store employee, those types of things. I do suspect that in the coming days or weeks, they'll announce that it's okay to boost any 18 to 64 general public, but that hasn't been made official yet. And so when patients, let's say a 65 and over patient comes and asks me, hey doc, I got my Pfizer booster, I got my second dose in April, I'm due for my booster, would you recommend that? A lot of it depends on the patient. It's not a straight answer, yes or no, either way. And it kind of depends on what that patient's doing. What type of risk are they undertaking in their daily lives? Are they big travelers? Do they want to fly across the country and see their family? If those are the cases, then I typically say, yeah, it would make sense to boost, right? I mean, my father recommended he got a booster shot before he came out and visited me a couple weeks ago. So in those cases, I would recommend it. If there's patients who, and there are plenty, who tell me, I'm comfortable staying at home, I wear my mask when I go out, I'm really only running to the grocery store and a couple quick errands, but I'm limiting my exposures quite a bit, then maybe those patients can delay their booster shot for a little bit because they're obviously being, pretty careful and not exposing themselves too much. So it's not a one size fits all answer. I'm a pretty cautious individual, so I would always err on the side of doing it rather than not, because we are seeing some of those immunities wane a bit. Other common questions I'll get in the clinic are in regards to flu vaccine as well. CDC now has given us the okay to provide flu vaccine and COVID vaccine simultaneously. So you can get both in the same visit. You know, if you're due for a booster, and a lot of us are, and you're like wanting to get the influenza vaccine this year, you could do both in one sitting. If you'd like to delay it, which would be understandable too, then I would give it about 2 weeks. You know, do COVID and then wait 2 weeks and do influenza, or vice versa. Because initially we were recommending patients wait 2 weeks prior in between vaccines, but now it's okay to kind of do at the same time. I'm trying to think of other common questions that I'll get on a routine basis. Those are probably the big ones. Oh, whether to get flu vaccine at all, right? I get that sometimes too. Last year was an extremely mild, you know, influenza season, largely because we were all wearing masks and preventing spread. I suspect, you know, knock on wood, it'll be about the same this year. If people are appropriately masking up, then we should have a minimal spread in influenza. But I was just in the grocery store yesterday, and there's definitely a fair amount of people who are not masking. So again, who I am, I would recommend getting the influenza vaccine just to prevent, just in case, because I know that's not everyone's following recommendations, which, you know, that's a different concern. So yeah, I mean, I think in large part, it's interesting here in that mix and match type of thing, especially knowing that Johnson & Johnson, the efficacy is not quite as strong as the mRNA, and kind of that benefit was to get the just a single dose of Johnson & Johnson. Now that it's recommended to get a booster, I suppose the benefit of that vaccine is probably a little decreased. You know, people may choose to do more of the mRNA based, but yeah, you can boost with Johnson & Johnson as well. I see. Moderna boosters is the original FDA approved. So it's approved as like an emergency use authorization. So I don't see that. I don't believe it's been approved as like Pfizer has officially been approved, like I think you're alluding to. Oh, yes.
Any other questions for Dr. Sager?
Yeah.
This is Valerie. I was trying to type in there, but I couldn't type fast enough. Anyway, is there an advantage to getting, say, if you have the Pfizer, to get a Moderna, to get the other one as a booster? Are there any advantages to that?
Great question. So far there hasn't been. I know there was some, you know, there's been some evidence, and Moderna has kind of come out and said that for their initial 2 doses of vaccine, maybe they were using a higher potency of vaccine, which was allowing that immunity to kind of last a little longer than Pfizer was. But the booster, mind you, will not be like a full dose of Moderna, right? It's not an equivalent 3rd dose like we were doing for some of our like immunocompromised patients, where there's a 3rd dose. It's a slightly diminished dose as a booster. So no, I was pouring over to see as well, because I'm curious for myself. I got Pfizer and was wanting to know if there'd be any benefit of updating with Moderna, but nothing that I could see. So, but really good question.
Okay, Tim, you have a question.
Yes, Dr. Sager, it's been 6 weeks since Erin, my wife, had her 2nd shot, and Pfizer, and she has a reaction around her lips that are blistering, and we went to the urgent care. They said it's not related to a shot, and that she must have applied something else topically, and it's still there. And so no one is saying it's from the shot, but it's just not going away. And
what did they try to use on it? Did they treat it at all?
Let me ask. Hydrocortisone ointment twice a day with Vaseline covering.
Any improvement?
Barely. She still can't smile without it hurting.
Can't open my mouth.
Yeah. Whether it's due to the vaccine or not, right? Like the jury, I guess, would be out. I mean, it could, if temporally, if timeline wise it matched up, and sounds like it did, I wouldn't put it past it. That hydrocortisone is a really low dose topical steroid. Could potentially benefit from a higher dose steroid. I've had patients with kind of, you know, allergic type reactions, just kind of odd reactions after receiving either Pfizer or Moderna, and I'm kind of treating it as allergies. You know, I've put some patients on prednisone bursts or prednisone tapers with, you know, if they've developed any like shortness of breath or wheezing after getting the shot, which I've seen a few cases of. So in this case, yeah, I mean, I guess whether it is or isn't related to the shot, I think the treatment would be maybe an increased potency steroid, and then potentially you could do oral, but I would kind of hold off on that for now.
Okay. And are you seeing new patients bump when out?
Yeah, get them out of here and take a spot. No, yeah. So I'm technically closed, but if you were interested, you could definitely call and say you already spoke to me about it, and it'd be fine.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, Nicole Selinger.
Sorry, I was having tech issues for a second. I apologize if I might have missed this, but my understanding is that there's kind of a gradual decline over time. And I'm wondering if there's a certain point where you reach, like I said, I got my second shot in February, where I really would need to get like a full new dosage, or whether the booster, whether kind of the decline tapers off itself as in its rate, and therefore I could wait to get a booster, or if there's any sort of long-term studies of when the appropriate time of boosting is versus them needing to start the cycle over.
Yeah, that's a really great question, and one I probably won't have a great answer to, because we just don't know. That immunization wane that you're talking about is different for each person, right? We know that if you have immunocompromising conditions or extreme comorbidities or greater than the age of 65, that waning occurs at a faster rate than someone young. And I mean, you look young, so I would assume you are, and so your waning is going to be at a lot lower of a rate than some other one might be. So, and the fact is, you already have a primary immune response to the vaccine. So I don't suspect that you'd ever get to a point like a bottomed out zero where your immune system would have no recognition of that spike protein, right? Which is what you did. You exposed it to spike protein. So I don't think it's ever going to reach a zero. You've already had that primary immune response. So all you need is just a little bit of a boost. So and I'm not an immunologist, right? I'm not a PhD in any of this stuff, but I would think it's very unlikely that you would need to restart a full dose procedure. My suspicion for someone like you could probably be fine with a booster anywhere in that 6 to 12 month window, and not knowing anything about your medical history, right?
Okay, Serena.
Yes. So I attend a lot of different community meetings and whatnot, and I know that there have been a lot of conversations just over this past week of people wanting to go back to in-person meetings, in-person events, essentially go back to normal. And I initially have some hesitations, and then we have more conversations of people saying that it's just like the flu. And I'm like, hold on a second. So I just would love to get your input on that.
You're triggering me. No, definitely not like the flu, right? That's a tough question. I mean, I think there is a situation where groups could meet back together, right? Depending on the size of the group, the vaccination status of that group, and then their willingness to wear masks, certainly. Looking at the size of this group, I would say it's probably going to be a while, before you'd meet like indoors somewhere comfortably. But if you were meeting certainly a group of 6 or less, potentially even like a dozen or less, if everyone was vaccinated, I would feel comfortable doing it. If you have some people in there who are not vaccinated, and if they're comfortable wearing masks, you're probably in an okay space. But if you're having a group of people who are not comfortable wearing masks, not vaccinated, to me, that's a risk that wouldn't be worth taking. Not currently. I mean, we just got through a pretty large surge in our area. That's kind of tapering off now, but it's still present. We're still kind of like clinging, and there's still such a high, non-vaccinated percentage in Josephine and Jackson County. There's just a lot of vectors for the virus to move through, so if it were to happen, we're potentially ripe for another surge, just given the percentage of non-vaccinated individuals in the counties. So yeah, a lot depends on it. I think if it's a small enough group, you could feel comfortable doing it, but yeah.
I think that is all. Those are exactly the things that I was hoping to hear, is just that, yes, keep wearing masks. And I know that it would be a mix of vaccinated and unvaccinated, unfortunately. And thank you.
Absolutely.
Gina Marie.
Yeah, I was just curious about, you had just mentioned we just made it through the Delta variant surge, and are tapering off from that. Are there other variants that are popping up that are showing up in the United States yet? I know I've been hearing about some overseas, and just curious if we're, kind of keeping an eye out for any new variants that might cause another surge in the future.
The only one that I'm aware of is Mu, and that was in South America. And I have not heard that it's like creeping up and causing an overwhelming of cases in North America yet. And I don't believe, again, not immunologist here, I do not believe it's as transmissible as like Delta was. But yeah, that I know Mu was kind of like ravaging South America, like Brazil and stuff. And so I know like our CDC was monitoring that pretty carefully, but I haven't heard any like information that they're seeing like a bunch of that traveling up or, from travelers or anything like that.
Okay. Well, I don't see any more questions. Thank you so much, Dr. Sager, for what you do, for informing us, and also what you do to keep our community healthy. We appreciate you very much as one of our healthcare heroes.
Thank you. And thanks for having like people like us on. I think that's awesome that you guys are all like trying to stay informed and getting information, hopefully straight from the source. And that's fantastic. That makes my day.
Good.
Awesome. Have a good one, guys. Thanks for having me again.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Valerie, with the information from the City Council.
Yes, and I also want to thank Wynn for bringing these people on, because you're right. It is so important to get the information straight from the source, because we know how much misinformation there is out there. So thank you. We appreciate you. I'm going to keep it short and sweet, because we had a meeting last night, which I think was the shortest meeting we've ever had. It was less than an hour, which was amazing. We have the housing survey. I mean, not the housing, we have the ARPA survey out. Friday is the last day to take that survey. If you have not already, we hope that you do. We will do a presentation in November on the results, and at that time, make some decisions. So that's out there that needs to be done. I will tell you the urban campground, due to legal issues because of our lawsuit, is a little bit on hold, just because we have to work out the details on who's buying, how that works. So they are saying that they don't really expect, and this is all care, to have everything, because you have to go through the public hearing process to open the site until March. So in the meantime, the mayor and Sarah and Aaron are going to try to put together about people who may be interested in helping to put together a temporary warming shelter that would be 90 days. So if you are a person who knows of a place, because the place is a big part of it, they are looking for something, whether it's a night shelter and then another day shelter. The problem they had in the past with just a nighttime shelter is that there's a lot of loitering and hanging out during the day that caused problems. So they're looking for something that will be 24 hours. So if you know of a building or somebody who wants to come to the plate with an idea, contact City Hall, Aaron or Sarah at Mayor Council. And we'll be getting out a notification as to when that meeting will be. So, any questions?
Any questions for Valerie? Well, thank you for the update.
You bet.
Lisa, would you like to introduce our guests for our Student Service Above Self Award?
Yes, thank you. Today it is my pleasure to open the Student Service Above Self Award program for the 2021-2022 Rotary and School year. For the past 19 years, our group has awarded over 130 students. Each year, one student from each of our 7 local high schools is chosen for their commitment to service to their school and to the community. Our group and 17 extra super special members make our gift one of the best ever. I would like to acknowledge these members very quickly by just going over them. Jody McDonald, Steve Rowe, Tommy Drake, John Jones, Debbie Brunell, Sally Snyder, Doug and Bev Walker, Deb Amin and Oregon Books, Dawn Welch, Carla Robertson, Wynn Howard, Greg Fishwick, and Margaret Bradford, Gina Marie Augusta, and Dave Matthews. A huge thank you to all. Today we are awarding Hannah Bennett from Hidden Valley High School. Chris Pendleton will introduce Hannah. Please join me in welcoming another fantastic student. And Chris, do I see you somewhere?
No, he had to jump off and help out his class. So I'm Misty King, and I'm the program manager for the Josephine County Foundation. And I'm happy to introduce Miss Hannah Bennett. She is my president here at the Josephine County Foundation, and she truly does more than any other student I've seen in quite some time. So she plays sports. She's got a great grade point average. Again, she's the president. And then she's also involved in many other clubs. So I will hand it to Hannah.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much. This is such an honor for me. My grandpa is part of Rotary, and so getting something, an award from Rotary, and especially a Service Above Self award, it means a lot to me. So yes, I am involved in JCF. I'm the president. I'm involved in Sparrow Club. I've worked with Interact Club a little bit. I'm also do Link Crew, which is helping our freshmen and sophomores kind of adjust to high school after COVID and getting them, involved. But I also help out with FBLA, and I play volleyball and basketball here at Hidden Valley. I also help out at my church, and I'm involved, and I love being out in the community and helping, and even at my school. There's so many needs here. We have a GAP program, so we cook meals, we get to help my peers, some of them need a little extra help, so we're able to get donations and give them clothes and food and any other necessities. So I love doing that. And yes, this is a big honor. Thank you all so very much. I've had a great people around me who have supported me. Misty King this year has really come around me and helped me. Chris Pendleton has been a big support. I met him my freshman year of high school. He scared me a little bit, but he taught me how to, public speak. I was a scared little freshman, and he taught me how to find my voice. And so a good thank you to him. And of course, my parents, I think my parents are on here. They've taught me to be strong and in my beliefs and stick to who I am. And so I believe that is how I received this award, was sticking to what I believe is true and serving others. My grandpa Clark taught me that serving others above yourself is always, the best quality, and to make other people smile is, if you can make someone smile, that's the best thing you can do. So thank you all so much.
Thank you, and congratulations on this well-deserved honor for all you do. And it's going to be interesting to watch your future progress. And speaking of that, what is kind of your future plans?
My future plan, right now I'm looking at going to Boise State or Oregon State and going to be physical therapist on the sports medicine side. So maybe do athletic trainer or a physical therapist assistant.
Gotcha. Okay, well, thank you. And thank you so much, Misty, for all you do with the Josephine County Foundation and for helping the students there. It's a great organization that really helps build leadership for going forward.
Yes, it's truly my honor.
Now, I think we're getting photobombed there.
Totally did.
It's good to see Chris too. Tell him thanks. Okay, well, thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, any questions before she goes? Okay, well,
Well, I just wanted to thank Hannah for her presentation at the Wednesday Club yesterday. I caught that, and her advocacy now for herself and others who were falsely accused of shoplifting in Grants Pass. But it's, as someone who has been falsely accused of things, I'm impressed with your support group and with your action plans for how to keep that from happening to other people. So thank you.
Thank you so much. I very much appreciate it.
okay. Well, Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day. There is a lot of information to share. The Foundry Village celebration is October 31st, and there'll be a sign up coming out email in the next day or two for talking about if you're able to come and what you can bring. Operation Gratitude, any update there from any club members? So we passed out some chocolate. Gina Marie, do you want to talk about your experience there a little bit?
I do. It was a lot of fun. I was telling some folks on at the beginning, one of our supervisors, one of our nursing unit supervisors, had asked us to create him a costume for when he hands out chocolate to his staff. So we had a chocolate fairy costume in my office that hadn't been used yet. I figured it was perfect timing. So I put a pink tutu and fairy wings on and walked all over the hospital to hand out the chocolate to our leaders. So not only did the leaders get a great boost, so did all of the employees who were doing double takes to see a fairy walking through the halls. So that was a lot of fun. And then Jeff, the supervisor I mentioned, actually wore the costume yesterday to pass out chocolate to the staff. So it's been great to see the smiles on people's faces, because it has definitely been a rough, time these last few weeks and months. So thank you very much to the team of Operation Gratitude and for everybody who contributed. The leaders were especially touched and very grateful for the support. So thanks.
Okay. And tonight there's going to be a Rotary Reads for the book about trees. Dawn Welch is leading that, and the information is in the navigator there, as well as an email that went out on Facebook as well. Remember the Facebook group. Jody, any update on backpack that you want to make?
Sorry about that. Yeah, actually, it's really nice. Cindy Grandal contacted me today and said she'd worked with her dentist, and to go along with the toothbrushes that Deb Amin is getting, Cindy was able to get toothpaste for all of the backpacks, which is fabulous. And she's working on floss or picks or something as well. I also got the notification today from a grocery outlet with the quantity of items that they're going to be able to get for us in regards to the $1,000 donation that they're doing. And so it leaves us very little actually to have to purchase. I've sent a note off to the food bank today to see about getting the few remaining items. We need the 216 jars of peanut butter, 432 macaroni and cheese boxes, and 108 cans of peaches. And other than that, then our food items should be good, because they were able to take care of the tuna, chili, ramen noodles, granola bars, and some of the peaches, half of the peaches. So that's gone great. I've gotten in, I just ordered yesterday knit hats, beanies for all of the kids. So those will be coming. I've got the face masks, backpacks, the animals, the gloves, the socks, and Laurel has all of the books. So it's just coming along fabulous. So we're just looking for the date that we'll be setting for the backpack stuffing event. I'm trying to confirm when the actual break is. And from what Delynn has found so far, it doesn't sound like the schools are going to require the quarantining of the bags like they did last year. So I'm hoping to be able to get it sometime, the backpack stuffing event after the 8th. I don't know if we'll be trying for the 9th or if we're able to do the 13th, but somewhere either that Tuesday or Thursday. And Grants Pass, I think I said this, but Grants Pass High School was awesome, and they're going to allow us to use their commons again this year, which was a fabulous place to do it. Gave us so much room, all the tables. It was just great. So I'll keep you guys informed and send out notice, save the date once I know for sure what the date is.
Okay. Thank you, Jody, for that update.
You bet.
Now we hear from Patty Hansen, who's actually here in my office, and she's going to do the Porch Fest fundraiser. So you can sit right here and trade seats.
Okay. Just to let everyone know, we made the 20,000 with all of our about 10,000, about 11,000 from our business sponsors, and then the wristband raffle came up to the 20,000. There's a lot of last minute things. I'm going to meet with Jan to figure out what's happy bucks, what's raffle, what's dues, whatever. So, but I'm positive we've made the 20,000. So going to have the drawing right now. Yeah.
My sister Lori to do the drawing.
Huh? Okay, number one, which is the weekend. And that is Brock Brown. Oh, I will contact them by mail. Number two is Jan Jones. And this is the Northwest, Club Northwest. And the last one is artwork by Doug. And it's Dave Grace Appleby. So we got winners. I won't be contacting them by mail. Phone. Thank you. Thank you.
Can I request an audit?
We'll get the cyber ninjas to come in.
And that was Dave and Grace. So yeah, David Grace Appleby. Awesome.
All right. Well, congratulations. And thank you for all of your people that donated and contributed to this cause to make it happen. Awesome. Be able to help out those 3 nonprofits that were impacted because we weren't able to help them on Porch Fest. So we'll be able to do it in a different way. So that's really, really great. World Polio Day is October 24th. And thank you to Valerie and Kelly for becoming Polio Plus Society members this year. Thank you for your help there as well. We also received a Shelterbox Award Bronze, which is hopefully right here. And that's for our club's contribution for Shelterbox, which helps out people in humanitarian crisis and natural disasters. Let's see, any other information that we need for our club as far as any other announcements that I missed?
Steve, I'll just remind everyone that because it is going to be World Polio Day coming up, I think on Sunday, we are projecting the End Polio Now logo up on the side of the Asante Outpatient Center building again. So if you're coming into town, sort of from the fairgrounds end of things, you should be able to see that in the evening. I think Jess is going to set it up on Friday night, and it will stay up through Sunday night and come down on Monday. So if you're driving out in that area in the evening, take a look up and you'll see the side of the building lit up.
Thank you so much for that. There will be no Thursday Club Fellowship last Thursday, Club Fellowship next week, because we're going to have the October 31st Foundry Village celebration. And we'll have a fireside boot camp after our meeting next week. So for our program this week, it's on Courageous Conversation. Sally, would you like to introduce our program? Sally Slater?
Yes, I would be happy to. And before I get too underway, I'm going to introduce Reverend Ernestine Flemister, because she just told me that she is going to have to sign off. So Ernestine, if you want to, I don't know if you're able to show your video. I think you might be at the airport right now, but we just wanted to give a shout out to Rev E. And a lot of you are going to recognize some of the people I'm about to introduce because you are members of their congregation. So I'm going to start by sharing my screen. And am I in presentation mode? If somebody could, oh, no, not in presentation mode. Okay, we can go swap. How about now, Gina Marie? May I have
You are now, Sal.
Perfect, thank you.
Well,
Okay.
now it's showing your next slide up also.
Yeah, you had it right the first time.
I had it right the first time.
Sorry.
Okay, so I'm in presentation mode now.
Yes.
Okay, great, good. Okay, so you all know who I am, and I want to introduce us from the photo in order of in how we're placed here. Can you see my cursor right now? Okay, I haven't done this for a little while apparently. So this is Reverend Ryan Scott. He is the Reverend at Newman United Methodist Church. Like I said, I know there's members of congregation here too, and they can see what a great club we are. I work at RCC and I'm the coordinator of diversity programming. Reverend Ernestine Flemister of St. Luke's Episcopal. Reverend Tom Berry right here of Bethany Presbyterian. And Jenny Jackson, also a member of our club. So these are our founding members. And how we got started. So United Methodist Church, Newman United Methodist, actually had a MLK Junior celebration that they've been hosting for, we're not exactly sure how long. So I don't know that piece of the history, but then a few years back, the 3 churches, Newman United, Bethany Presbyterian, and St. Luke Episcopal, decided to collaborate and do it together. And I was really excited to go to that and said, hey, maybe RCC can partner here. So we all started partnering to do, we did 2 in-person MLK celebration days, and then COVID hit. So we switched to virtual. And we were saying, you know, this is just a one day of the year, this holiday, and Black History Month is 1 month of the year, but these are things that need to be worked on all the time throughout the year. So we started talking about wanting to initiate something. We weren't sure what. So we started meeting, started planning, and then the murder of George Floyd happened. And we decided, okay, enough of this planning. We didn't know quite what we were doing or how. We didn't feel ready, but we said, let's do it. Let's go for it. And then the other challenge, of course, was Zoom. This was all new. We were online. So we started hosting virtual meetings once a month. And I was just going to put up a couple of the events that we've put on throughout the last year and a half. Some of the titles. Why are people afraid to talk about racism, pride and prejudice? Thanksgiving, reality versus myth, with one of our local elders, David West. Putting the civil back in civil discourse. Environmental racism, inequities and the cost of white privilege. Patriotism and polarity, and Asian American allyship, learn the 5 Ds of how to be a strong ally. So these are just a few of the programs we've put on. This is the one that's coming up next week, and I will give you a little bit of information of how to join it in just a moment. When I'm not talking, I'll put the web link in the chat. So next Tuesday, I'm really excited. We are all very excited because Taylor Stewart is a social justice champion who did a project in Coos Bay, Oregon Remembrance Project, to commemorate the lynching of a Black man, and to bring some reconciliation to the town about what the atrocity was, how awful it was, and to not ignore it and not to hide it and cover it up, but learn how to grow from it and then how to become welcoming and inclusive. And we have a local resident here, Gabby Johnson, who is really excited about this project and has invited him to our community to work with us. This is going to be a long project. It's not going to be a one-time thing of recognizing the sundown towns here in Southern Oregon, our history, and especially in Grants Pass. And ultimately, we hope to put up a commemoration, some kind of memorial here in Grants Pass. So in terms of upcoming programs, we meet on the 4th Tuesdays monthly. And I say generally, because well, you'll see. So our next meeting is we also meet generally from noon to 1 p.m. So we're generally over the lunch hour. So October 26th is a Tuesday. It is the 4th Tuesday, and it is noon to 1. The next month, we are actually meeting a week earlier, the 3rd Tuesday, because of Thanksgiving. So we decided we're going to pop it up. Rogue Valley Trail of Tears. December, we take a little break, mostly because I'm working with 3 reverends who have just renamed themselves the Ear Reverends. And they have a few other things they need to do during December to celebrate holidays. And then on January 17th, not a Tuesday, it is a Monday. And this is an evening event. We are hoping to do it in person. We will definitely have a stream version as well, but it all depends on how our numbers are doing in terms of COVID. So I'm going to stop sharing just for a moment. So that's who we are and what we're doing with Courageous Conversations. And I know somebody said, like, we throw around the words EDI, the letters EDI or DEI, and we hear them so many times, but if we are throwing out acronyms right now, please ask, what is that? Either by chat or just saying it. E is equity, D is diversity, I is inclusion. And I'm actually going to go ahead and turn over to Ryan, Pastor Ryan. Yep, and I will share my screen again if you're ready. Does that sound good?
Thank you, Sally. Yeah, it sounds good.
Okay.
I know that.
Ask one more time. Am I in presentation mode? Can you only see my one slide? Nope, you see my notes. Okay, thank you. Sorry about that. Okay, now just the slide, yeah? What? Is it not showing?
It looks like it's frozen.
Okay, I apologize. I'm going to play around for a moment. Go ahead, Ryan.
Well, I know that Jenny wanted to mention something too before we got into the slides. So
Okay.
I wanted to chime in because I know so many of you closely, and that this is a project that's really near and dear to my heart. I joined a little bit after the program had already been started as an RCC faculty member working with student government. And the project was so amazing. As I became a bigger part of it, I actually left RCC and chose to stay on with this team as a member, because it's one of the greatest things I feel that I've done in the last couple of years or been a part of collectively. I've been thinking a lot about this presentation and telling you all about what we do. And I think we can all agree that 2020 was a very difficult year. And this is one of the great things that I've seen come out of 2020, where good people come together with a collective vision and a way to bring our community together to talk about hard conversations and to just be supportive of each other. And I just wanted to share that with each of you because this club means a lot to me. And I know the hearts of all our club members, and it's very similar to the feeling that we have in our Courageous Conversations team. So that's my spiel on being a very proud member of this group. So thank you.
Okay, I'm going to try again. Am I in presentation mode?
Yes.
Yay.
There you go. All right, well, as Sally said, I am Ryan Scott. I'm the pastor at Newman United Methodist Church, and I'm gonna let Sally advance through the slides a little bit. We're still on upcoming programs. And yeah, so we're going to talk a little bit about the difference between equality and equity. Those words get thrown around a lot. Equality is frequently what we think of. You can see in the image here where everyone is given the same supports, equal supports. And that's beneficial to some, but not necessarily beneficial to all. And it helps alleviate some of the problems that exist in society, but it doesn't go much further beyond that. Versus equity, which works to give the supports that are needed to make up for the lack of supports that some people have. So while equality means that resources may not be given equally to everybody, they're given equitably to everybody so that all can have equal footing and equal participation in society. And then we could take it even one step further and talk about liberation, which is where all the things that keep us from being fully integrated and welcomed into society are completely broken down and no longer exist. So the barriers to participation and inclusion are completely gone. And that's really what we're working for. Equality gets us one step of the way there. Equity gets us a bit further, but liberation and belonging is really what we're shooting for. And here's another image of that to be more inclusive of our neighbors with different abilities. And I know this is kind of hard to read on the screen, some of the small words, but we just really wanted to show this to demonstrate that we talk a lot about DEI as a single concept, but it's more than just one thing. Diversity, equity, inclusion is 3 areas of focus that work together towards creating a society where everyone can feel like they truly belong and are needed in the world. So that includes the diversity, where people of different identities are represented in an organization where you work hard to make sure different voices are heard and represented. Equity, where you're constantly recognizing and redistributing the power. So if you realize you're looking around your, say you're part of a nonprofit organization or business, and you're looking around your management team or your board of directors, and they all look the same. It might be time to look into equity and see whose voices aren't present at the table and how those voices can be beneficial to your organization or your life. And inclusion is being intentional. It's not just about saying, well, I'll start by saying in churches, we're really good at saying all are welcome. We've got that down. We've been saying that for decades, but we're not always as good at rolling out that welcome completely. Inclusion is being more intentional about who we welcome to the conversation and who we welcome in our circles. So I love this slide. Diversity is having a seat at the table. Inclusion is having a voice, and belonging is having that voice be heard, which is really what we all want. We all want to be heard. We all want to be seen and respected and feel like we are needed and part of the picture of society. And I can just speak from some of my experience, specifically with inclusion. Throughout my life, there have been times where I have felt, very included, but there's also been lots of times where I felt excluded. In some ways, we've all felt that before. We've all been on the playground and have felt, excluded or shut out of what's going on. But for people who are part of minority groups, speaking for myself, I'm an openly gay person. Exclusion can be hard. It really gets at you sometimes. We all want to belong. We all want to be liked and part of a group and feel like we have something to contribute. But when we exclude people, it really can eat at their soul of who they are, and can cause a lot of distress in people's lives. In my life personally, I was a huge part of the Boy Scouts growing up, and up until just a few years ago, you weren't allowed to be gay and be in the Boy Scouts, either as a youth or as an adult volunteer. So growing up as a teenager, I was part of an organization, well, two organizations, Boy Scouts and the United Methodist Church, who both told me that being gay was not something that meant that I could not be fully part of those organizations. And that changed over time. We challenged the status quo. The troop that I was part of worked really hard to make sure that we were being inclusive of everybody. And it's really kind of guided me throughout my life as I've worked to make the church more inclusive and welcoming to all people, not just LGBTQ people, but anyone who feels like they're on the outside edges of society. That's really what drives me in this work of diversity, equity, and inclusion, and why I feel it's so important, not just in our churches and businesses, but in all aspects of our lives, that we really make space for people to feel like they are belonging and needed and wanted in society. So that's briefly what I wanted to share, and we're gonna kind of open it up to some open conversation among the Courageous Conversations team to kind of pop in and talk a little bit about this also.
I'm going to put Tom on the spot to see if he has anything that he wants to share.
Yeah, and I'll smile as a minister, I'll keep it brief. This has been a good group to be a part of, and as a relatively, when we got started, still relatively new to the community, and just trying to find my place and trying to get to know what's going on and getting to know the members of the congregation that I'm serving. And as I got involved with this group here, what I liked about it was kind of our tag of excuse me, of having these conversations that are going to take us, from education to action, and what we're learning and what we can share in an environment that maybe, I'm not sure if safe's always the right word, because that might imply other things, but I'll say safe, in an environment where people can come and listen and talk, and hopefully be respected and not feel that they can't share. And one of the things that struck me in my kind of journey too is this education and the understanding of the word excuse me, of the word privilege, which also gets thrown around a lot. And I noticed, speaking for my people, speaking for middle-aged white males, oftentimes that word can feel like it's a bad word, or can feel like it's a shaming word, and can trigger folks, and it can cause a lot of pushback. And I think things like Courageous Conversations is a great venue and a great opportunity to explore words like that, and to explore, for me, that realization that I do have privilege doesn't make me a bad person, but realizing what I have, and where I go from there. What am I willing to learn, reflect, and change? So again, that's just one little piece of this bigger tapestry that I'm a part of, and I enjoy it very much. And I look forward to seeing who shows up each month, and I hope to see more people as this grows.
And I think because it is 12:54, I'm going to open it up to see if anybody has questions for us or comments. And just go ahead and unmute yourself if you do.
I just wanted to say I love the way that you guys show up for the community. It's so important and you're doing incredible work, and I'm not going to get emotional about it.
Thank you, Serena.
And I really loved, I guess maybe Dr. Ryan, I'm not sure, your support of the Women's Rights March, whenever it was a while ago. Thank you so much.
I will definitely put a plug there. If you go to Newman United's Facebook page, which I can get to even though I don't have Facebook, you can see a recorded version of his speech, and it's one of the most powerful speeches. So, so good.
I love it that our community is changing so much. From when I arrived in Grants Pass from Eugene, from Illinois originally, in 1986 to now, oh my goodness, so many changes have been made for the better, for the inclusion of many kinds of people. And I'm grateful for this. And really looking forward to many more changes and many more people being involved in those changes.
So you go to United Newman Methodist Facebook to get a.
And you scroll to, was it October 2nd? Was that the day of the march? So if you scroll down in the history, then you can, it's Saturday, October 2nd, raised or nod your head.
It might be a little bit easier if you go to videos or live tab and scroll through there. That way you don't see all of our other, have to filter through all the other content we have.
He's so modest.
Well, I wonder.
Ryan, let him filter, let him scroll, Ryan, let him scroll.
So I wondered about the other programs on
for Courageous Conversations, I put our web link in the chat. If you go to Road Community College's main page and type in diversity in the search, it'll come to the Diversity Programming Board. And unfortunately, this next one isn't quite updated yet, but the link will be there by Tuesday at noon. Our webmaster is out this week, and so it hasn't been updated quite yet. And Michelle, it's so good to see you. Michelle is my former neighbor, and I met her through her wonderful sister, who's my friend and massage therapist. Hey, Michelle.
Hey, thank you. Just thank you so much. This Courageous Conversations program is amazing, and it is what brought me here today. So I'm just thrilled with what you're doing, and sorry that I'm just finding out now. I was wondering if there's a way to get on an email list so that I can be kept informed. I just went to the link that you gave and I didn't see anywhere to sign up.
We don't have an email link. We just have this form here. But however, if you have my email there, I might start an informal list to let you know.
Okay.
I bookmark these things.
Thank you, Sally.
Let's see, Serena just said, what are the best ways to support our efforts? So there's things you can do on a very personal level, community level. And, you know, like I said, when we started this, we didn't feel like we were ready, but we're like, we need to do this. And it's been really exciting that we've had a really strong following. We've had several, we have a good number. I think the least we have is 40, but we generally have a decent, really strong following. Personally, when I started here at RCC, I thought of myself as pretty inclusive and open-minded, caring, loving person. And I started doing reading. I started reading and going to different events and realizing how much I didn't know, and how like I wasn't aware of my white privilege. I wasn't aware of how me interrupting people, if it was a person of color, how that is a privilege I have, that I can make my voice be heard whenever I want, type of thing, things that I didn't get. So I would say on a personal level, I really encourage everybody to do some personal soul searching, and continually. We're always learning, we're always growing. And then if you come to our events, we do have some signups. Nicole Sellinger has a community action, I'm not using the right words, but ways to get involved. And if you want to do like step up, roll your sleeves up, do some work. And this Sundown Towns project is going to definitely need some people getting on board. So I would say, you know, if you're really interested, just we can talk offline, because I want to be cognizant that we're rolling up on 1 o'clock.
Any other questions? For Pastor Tom, Pastor Scott, or Sally?
I'm going to say what Ernestine put in the chat to help show up and engage your tribe in truth telling. Sorry, show up and engage your tribe in truth telling. And right now, another project we're working on is, of course, Indigenous Peoples Day, and recognizing how much of our history that we have totally covered up and how much of our people we have wiped out. And so really speaking up about these things and being aware of it and making sure that we are moving forward in a way that's honoring and respecting each person's culture and identity.
I just want to put in really quick that invitation again to show up and be a part of this. And we are always listening and looking for new topics and things. And I'm sure that many of you could and would bring some of those topics, things we've never even thought of. So that's always another nice reason to have you come, because in those discussions, new things, shines light on new things and new places to go. So we appreciate that as well.
As I hear these words of courageous conversations, I also think it gels so nicely with the Rotary four-way test, about being the truth and fair to all concerned. The same values in the four-way test really apply so much. You could call that another different name for courageous conversations. And thank you for your presentation today and all that you're doing to inform all of us in the community, and also to even out to inform, but to participate in this. And we're glad to have you, part of our meeting today, and more importantly, for what you'll do in the community together. Any other questions or thoughts? Okay. Well, birthdays this month. Wynn Howard has a October 27th birthday. And let's see, Sergeant at Arms. Tommy, would you like to take it away for Sergeant at Arms?
Why, sure. Well, I have a happy $5 because I was gone last week at a wedding of my youngest nephew, and it was absolutely terrific. Weddings are kind of a fun thing, a start of new people or people's new lives with each other. And so it was just great fun. I am, however, extremely glad to be back because Arizona is not my favorite place. So it's a very dry desert. I missed the trees. So anyway, do we have, and I wanted to really thank the backpack program and Jody McDonald. She's doing a fabulous job. So there's another $5. And don't forget to go by and look at the Polio Plus screening on the hospital. I was listening to the grants meeting a couple days ago that Jim recorded for me. And one of the things that I heard was be sure to publicize our Polio Plus things. So I think we need to send someplace like our newsletter, send that in that we're doing this great thing. So anyway, that's what I have to say. Happy bucks, anybody?
I'm gonna do 10 happy bucks for our program today, for being absolutely inspiring and serving our community in critical ways. You guys are awesome.
Thank you, Serena.
I am going to jump in because I just am. I'm going to give 5 happy bucks for our program today. It's wonderful to know that this work is out there, and it's encouraging for me. $5 for Jody, because I'm so impressed with what she's been able to gather. And then I'm going to give $10 for me, because I just, right before this meeting started, I got an email from my daughter who just got a job that she's been so excited, working so hard to get to, and it brings her to a much more stable place. So I am very excited about that. And that's for Kelly. That's my Anna up in Portland. She got a job in the bio life, which is where she has her degree. So that's exciting.
Very excellent. That's fabulous.
Mm-hmm.
Greg?
Let me defer to Gina Marie. She had her hand up first.
Oh, I'm sorry. Gina Marie?
Thank you. I'm going to give $10. I was telling some folks before the meeting started, I'm just finishing up my first class for this term and had a pretty big assignment that was due last night. So I've been working on it for the last 5 days. I apologize if any of you have emailed me and I have not responded because I have literally not had a chance to look at my email for 5 days. So I'll get back to you. But yeah, I'm happy to have a few days of a break before my next class. And grad school is still going really well and I'm loving it. So.
Super. That's great, Gina Marie. Okay, now Greg.
Okay. Of course, I want to piggyback on the program. I don't know whether Ryan had done any research about the four-way test, but when Steve mentioned how their work reflects that, Ryan actually used the word beneficial. One of the four-way test questions is it beneficial to all? And that's one of the reasons I love those graphics that you put up about the differences between equality, equity, and of course, the fact that everyone wants to watch baseball is a really important part of those graphics. But I also, and of course, the backpack stuffing program and the student service above self, it's been a great meeting. I don't want to miss out on putting in $20 for Patty Hansen, orchestrating, substituting the income that pretty much we would have derived from holding the entire Porch Fest through a raffle. Very magnificent work. And I happen to sell 2 of the 3 winning tickets. So some of you that have been around for a while know that I have the Fishwick's famous 5th one free. And I'm pretty sure that those 2 winning tickets, I know they were 5th one free customers. So I'm thinking that maybe I should share in the winnings. But actually, we'll do that. We'll pick that up in the audit. So thanks, Patty. Great work. And everyone else that sold $20,000 worth of tickets. Way to go.
Okay, thank you, Greg. Dawn?
All right, I'm doing 6 happy bucks, kind of teaming up on the whole raffle idea, and they're for Margaret. Margaret last year sold the most raffle tickets when we were trying to make up also for some loss of fundraising for our club. And this Saturday, she has assembled 6 couples who will be having a champagne brunch at my house. So yay, Margaret.
Very nice. Very nice. Okay, thank you. And Debbie?
Well, I just wanted to brag about the fish I caught. Bob and I, well, we were talking to Doug Walker and how they had such a fabulous time at the Umpqua Lighthouse State Park. And so we made a reservation for the first opening for a cabin there and went over and went fishing and crabbing, and we've never caught so many crabs so quickly. And we had a possibility of getting 4 coho and got 3, and it was just a lot of fun and beautiful, and I'm just really happy.
That's great. Sounds like good eating to me. How about you, Steve?
Well, I'm going to put in $66 for $66 for our members, because as I was going through the newsletter this morning, just doing it, I realized just how many members participate in their own way in our club and in the community. And I just want to say thank you to each member for all that they do to make a difference in that club. And the other one is a kind of a concern for Kirk Brown. I talked to him this morning. His wife's got some significant health concerns, and just want to keep him in our thoughts and prayers as well as his wife Ellen.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Margarita?
Yes, I'd just like to say thanks to Dawn. She's been great about every year when we have these fundraisers. She offers up a meal to, whoever sells the most tickets. And she's done that for several years. And I just want to thank her for that. It's very hospitable.
Sounds great. Any more? Okay, Steve, it's back to you.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. Kind of a lot going on in our meeting today, which is excellent. We'll be hanging on for a few more minutes after the meeting. So if anyone wants to have any conversations, our thought for the week, is from Helen Keller. Alone, we can do so little. Together, we can do so much. And I think that's very true of Rotary and our club. And so let's see if I can get our oh, there it goes. Okay, we are adjourned. Have a great week, everyone.
Did Doug talk about Foundry Village? Did I miss that?
He was, I don't know. The kind of a jam-packed one. There is going to be an email going out on the event. Media day is next week. I don't think he didn't think he was going to be able to make the meeting today, so I didn't look for him because he stopped by here and said he wasn't going to be able to make the meeting today.
Oh, okay.
He's on.
Oh, is he? Go
there.
ahead.
Foundry's almost done. We're getting close. And Kelly, the deer do come by once in a while and enjoy your plants. So the deer say thank you. And we've got Rotary Retreat has got staff, which is nice because that's a big struggle these days to get staff. We've got staff there. And they're starting to go through a list of names and starting to, I don't want to say they're starting interviews, but I think that starts in the near future, deciding who's going to start to move in. So we're getting really close.
So somebody was saying to me, Doug, that we weren't going to have any supervision at night. Is that true?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Okay.
It may be possible they don't have supervision at night. It may not. It may be that they